But of course, we have been following the developments out of Gaza as well, as we see that there have been continued strikes. There's been bombing on more residential buildings. This is early on Friday. Airstrikes hit actually a house in Gaza City. At least 6 Palestinians, including children, were killed. They were among the dead in this attack. Now, this was west of the Nuseirat refugee camp. Israeli forces there bombing an apartment inside the camp. This resulted in the injuring of a disabled girl and her brother. Their father was also killed. Al Jazeera's Hani Mahmoud joins us live from Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. First of all, tell us about this strike on a refugee camp, on the Al-Nuseirat refugee camp.
Yes, well, what's really going on right now is the Israeli military taking advantage of the distraction going on in Lebanon, and all the eyes that has turned into the evolving events inside Lebanon, and taking advantage of that and carrying out more deadly attacks across the Gaza Strip, including the central area in the Nuseirat refugee camp. 2 separate attacks that targeted residential apartments and residential buildings. And what we're looking at is the same exact scenario that we're seeing that has been concerning for the past couple of months. Displaced families inside residential homes that they have taken as shelters to protect themselves and seeking safety for themselves, and their children are being targeted and deliberately killed inside these residential homes. An overnight attack of an apartment in one of the residential buildings in northern Nuseirat refugee camp was targeted. The father of that family was killed right away, as well as members of the family were critically injured, including a disabled girl, who were all transferred to Al-Aqsa Hospital. One thing that we knew about, and we carried out a brief interview with one of the boys surviving, who did not know about the passing of his father. He did not know that his father was killed in the attack. It was not until we finished the interview, a family member came by and informed the little boy about his father's death of the attack. On a separate attack, 8 family members, the number has increased, went up from 6 people to 8 people, including women and children, from the attacks on a displaced family inside a residential home in western Nuseirat camp. On separate attacks in Gaza City, the Israeli military, at the center part of Gaza City, a family was also targeted, where 3 people reported killed right at the spot when their apartments was hit, but at least one drone missiles that killed 3 people inside this apartment.
Hani, we've also been reporting on quite an escalation and intensified cross-border attacks between Israel and Hezbollah. Has there been any impact on the situation in Gaza from this? What have you been seeing in the past couple of days there?
Well, one would imagine that the attacks in Lebanon, or this front that just opened in southern Lebanon, would have eased the situation across the Gaza Strip, but quite the contrary. The Israeli military is scaling up the attacks across the Gaza Strip, just again taking advantage of the distraction and the chaotic situations they're creating in the northern front, and taking advantage of that and carrying more deadly attacks across the Gaza Strip. Just from overnight attacks all the way to this hour, there's almost every city across the Gaza Strip had at least 1 artillery shells, or had been the site of a major air strikes, whether it's at tent sites or residential homes, or just destroying more residential buildings. Now, the fear here, a growing fear and concern among the displaced, the traumatized population, that the distraction in the northern front will lead into more surge in the attacks and more casualties already here in the central part and the southern part of the Strip. Let alone the northern part of the Gaza Strip that had been forgotten for the past few months, where there's enforced starvation, dehydration, the fact that people are not allowed to go to their homes. And the fear right now is this situation might be prolonged for a longer time, and displaced families will have to stay where they're at for another year or so.
Hani, thank you. Hani Mahmoud reporting to us from Deir al-Balah in central Gaza.